All right, here's Doug Wilson, false teaching on the beast of Revelation and false teaching about the beasts of Revelation chapter 7, false teaching about what a beast means in Bible prophecy. Now, this is, to be fair, this is a little parenthetical part of this talk, the man of sin, Douglas Wilson from Christ Church. This, listen to what he says about the beasts here. Bam.
Out there, the spirit of Antichrist is loose. Okay, now, having mentioned the Antichrist, I need to say something else important. This is just a parenthetical comment. In popular discussion about these things, the Antichrist is the arch villain at the end of the world who sets, and he's oftentimes confused with the beast of Revelation. But
so that's futurism. He's talking about futurism. He seems to not know anything about the historicism of the Reformation, but that's what he's saying in popular. So argumentum ad populum, of course, is a logical fallacy. Just because something's popular doesn't mean it's true. But listen to what he says about the beasts here.
The Bible nowhere identifies the beast of Revelation with the Antichrist of 1st and 2nd John. The Antichrist is an entirely different kind of figure than the beast of Revelation.
False. Let's go to 1st John chapter 2, verse 18. 1st John 2, verse 18. Let's look this up. Children, is the last hour. As you have heard that Antichrist is coming. That's all he says here. Antichrist is coming. So now many Antichrists have come. Therefore, we know it is the last hour. They went out from us, but they were not of us. For if they had been of us, they would have continued with us. But they went out that it might become plain that they are not all of us. That is apostasy. That's the definition of apostasy right here. They departed from the once for all delivered unto the saints' faith. Okay, but Antichrist is coming. That's all 1 John 2:18 says about Antichrist. Antichrist is coming. Now, here's Jonathan Edwards. Jonathan Edwards breaks it down really nice for us. I'm going to put down here. He says the Antichrist is the man of sin of 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. The man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he, as God, sits in the temple of God. That's the church, not the literal temple that was standing during Paul's day that was destroyed in 70 AD. Paul's not talking about that temple. Nor is Paul talking about a future rebuilt temple in Jerusalem, even future from our own day. He's talking about the man of sins, son of perdition, sitting in the temple of God, that is the church of God. Okay? So that's the Antichrist, the man of sin, son of perdition, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. Daniel 7, it is called the little horn. That horn is the little horn. Had a mouth speaking very great things. And I beheld the same, that's the little horn, made war with the saints and prevailed against them. Daniel 7:21 is the little horn, that is the Antichrist. Revelation 13, verses 1 through 10, that is the sea beast, opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, blaspheming his name and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. That's the sea beast of Revelation 13, 1 through 10. And then, of course, Revelation 17 is the scarlet harlot, the whore of Babylon. That is the Antichrist. And, of course, Jonathan Edwards is correct when he says the time when the reign of Antichrist began, it is certain that the 1260 days or years of Antichrist's reign, day equals year principle from Jonathan Edwards, which are so often in Scripture mentioned as the time of the continuance of Antichrist's reign, did not begin until after the fall of the Roman Empire. Did not commence before the year of Christ 479. Okay? The rise of Antichrist was gradual. The Christian church corrupted itself. That is, again, the apostasy of 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. Same thing in 1 John 2:18. Antichrist is coming. They went out from us. They were not of us. For if they had, but that's the apostasy here. Now, the many antichrists are most likely a group of, I think what Dr. Nash called pre-Gnostics. Some call them the proto-Gnostics. He calls them the pre-Gnostics. And these were most likely Docetists. Docetus, dokain, which means to appear to be, in appearance only, dokain. So the Docetists were those who said that Christ only appeared to be human. They were not denying his deity necessarily. They were denying his humanity. That was the first Christological heresy in church history. Is the Gnostic Docetists, the pre-Gnostic Docetists. They denied not necessarily the deity of Christ, but the humanity of Christ. That's very important too. But Jonathan Edwards, let's see. Let's go back here. Okay, so a beast. What does a beast mean?
In Scripture, whether it's in Daniel or whether it's in Revelation,
Daniel, or Revelation. We're going to go to Daniel. A beast means what?
Is a persecuting civil ruler.
No, it's not. No, it is not. That is an error. That is a falsehood. That is a lie from Doug Wilson. It is not a single solitary civil ruler.
King. It's a prince.
No, it's not.
Persecuting civil ruler.
No, it is not.
Someone like Nero.
No.
In modern terms, it's someone like Stalin.
No, it is not.
Okay, it's a Nero. It's a Stalin.
No, it is not. No, it is not. Here is a beast in Daniel chapter 7. Daniel 7, and then we're going to go to Revelation 13 as well. Notice in Daniel chapter 7, first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel saw a dream, visions of head as he lay in his bed. And he wrote down the dream and told the sum of the matter. The four winds of heaven, and the stirring up the great sea. I saw four great beasts coming up out of the sea, different from one another. So 4 beasts out of the sea. First was like a lion, had eagle's wings. A second like a bear, raised up on one side, 3 ribs in its mouth. A third like a leopard, 4 wings of a bird on its back. And then a fourth beast. So 1, 2, 3, 4 beasts. This fourth beast had 10 horns. 3 of them were plucked up by the roots before a little horn. This little horn could arise. We just saw that in Jonathan Edwards. So what do these beasts represent? These beasts do not represent single solitary individual rulers. They represent empires. Empires. These 4 beasts also parallel the metal man image of Daniel chapter 2. So I have Daniel chapter 2 here in parentheticals, the head of gold. Okay, but the first beast, lion with eagle's wings, represents not Nebuchadnezzar, but the Babylonian Empire. It didn't matter who was the ruler at any given time. It was the whole empire. And the whole reign of this empire as the biggest kid on the block, the Suzerain Kingdom, okay, which had lesser vassal kingdoms under its purview. So we call the Suzerain Kingdoms empires. This is the Babylonian Empire, followed by the Medo-Persian Empire. The 3 ribs in the teeth of the bear raised up one side likely refers to the 3 major conquests of the Medo-Persian Empire: Lydia, Babylon, and Egypt. So again, a suzerain that has lesser vassal kingdoms under its purview, including Judea or Judah. And under the Medo-Persian king Cyrus was the first decree that the Jews could leave Babylon from their Babylonian exile and go back to the province beyond the river, as it's called in Ezra and Nehemiah. And so that's the second empire, Medo-Persia. So very important to understand the history of these things, to understand that's the history of the Bible too, Medo-Persian kings. Then you got Darius, then you got Artaxerxes, and then you have the fall of the Medo-Persian and the rise of the Grecian Empire with the conquest of Alexander the Great. But the beast did not represent Alexander. It represented his suzerain kingdom or his empire. And then the fourth beast is the Roman Empire, which went on till 476 AD. And notice in this hyphen period is when the first advent of Jesus Christ, the Messiah, comes, and the apostles and the promulgation of the gospel to the whole world, not just Judea, but to the whole world. Then the 10 horns symbolize the 10 tribal kingdoms, the lesser vassal nations that made up the Suzerain Roman kingdom or empire after its fall in 476 AD. The Ostrogoths, Burgundians, Vandals, Heruli, Visigoths, Suevi, Alemanni, Franks, Saxons, and Lombards. 3 of these would be plucked up by the roots. I'll just say it was the Heruli, the Vandals, and the Ostrogoths were the 3 plucked up by the roots. The rest of these, the Burgundians, Visigoths, Suevi, Alemanni, Franks, Saxons, and Lombards, are the people, nations that still make up Europe to this day, to this very day. In fact, Alemanni, let's see, I think I've done this before, but let's go to English to French. Okay, now if we put the word Germany in English, the French don't call it Germany. The Germans don't call it Germany. They call it Deutschland. But the French don't call it Germany. You know what they call it? Alemannia. Alemannia. That's what they still, to this day, French-speaking people in France primarily refer to Germany as Alemannia. You see that? To this very day, all the way back to 476, breakup of the Roman Empire. They go all, this is, this is, you know, Bible prophecy is church history and world history in prophetic form. Bible prophecy is church history and really world history in prophetic format. Noted 18th century Reformed Baptist theologian Dr. John Gill says here in his commentary on Daniel 9, 724, the 10 horns out of this kingdom, the Roman Empire, are 10 kings or 10 kingdoms. Kings and kingdoms are used synonymously in Scripture. Or 10 kingdoms, says John Gill, which sprung out of the Roman Empire, into which it was broken and divided upon the dissolution of it about AD 476. And he gives Meade's list here, very similar to my own. He gives Sir Isaac Newton's list here, very similar to my own. 3 of them plucked up by the roots, before which 3 of them fell. Then this little horn rose up, a mouth that spoke great things. This horn would make war with the saints and prevail over them. So those were the Heruli, Vandals, and Ostrogoths. Before the sea beast could arise to power, notice this, Daniel 7:25 tells us again about the little horn. By the way, just Daniel had anxiety about this. Daniel had anxiety about this, and the visions of his head alarmed him. But it didn't matter. He still wanted to know the truth concerning all this. Okay? Daniel was strong. Daniel was one of the most spiritually strong men. He was a man of prayer. No question. So verse 19, I desire to know the truth about the fourth beast. Despite the anxiety, despite the alarm, I still wanted to know the truth. The truth is more important than my, mental problems. Okay. The 10 horns that were on its head. The other horn that came up, before which 3 of them fell, a mouth spoke great things, made war with the saints and prevailed over them. Verse 25, he shall speak words against the Most High, wear out the saints of the Most High, think to change the times and the law. They shall be given into his hand for a time, times, and half a time. That is 1260 days or 42 months. Notice Revelation 13, verses 1 through 10. This little horn is called now a sea beast in the book of Revelation. It's the same entity as the little horn of Daniel 7. Notice, why do I say that? Verse 5, it had a mouth uttering haughty and blasphemous words, just like the little horn of Daniel chapter 7, and it was allowed to exercise authority 42 months, 1260 days. Its mouth to utter blasphemies against God, blaspheming his name and his dwelling and those who dwell in heaven. It was allowed to make war on the saints and to conquer them, just like Daniel chapter 7. Okay? Make war against the saints and prevailed against them for 1260 literal years. As Jonathan Edwards says, the reign of Antichrist for 1260 literal years did not commence before the year of Christ 479. That is, before the fall of the Roman Empire. It commenced after the fall of the Roman Empire. So, when Doug Wilson says, what about the beast now?
someone who savages the church, someone who persecutes the church with jail and prison and torture and execution. That is a beast.
No, a beast is an empire. It is an empire. Now, that empire can persecute the church, and it's said to, the little horn, but it's not a single solitary individual civil ruler that does this. That was the papacy. For that 1260 years of papal supremacy and papal domination, just like Jonathan Edwards says, the rise of Antichrist was gradual. The Christian church corrupted itself, growing more and more superstitious in its worship, and by degrees bringing in many ceremonies into the worship of God, till at length they brought in the worship of saints and set up images of their churches. Especially the Bishop of Rome assumed more and more authority to himself. He claimed power of a temporal prince and was wont to carry two swords or two keys now, to signify that both the temporal and spiritual sword were both his. You have to understand what the papacy claims as far as her authority. It's over all kings, presidents of the United States. The Pope has power over all of them. That's the power of the two keys. If the Pope was pleased to excommunicate a prince, all his subjects were at once freed from their allegiance to him and obliged not to own him anymore on pain of excommunication. And not only so, but any man might kill him wherever he found him. Further, the Pope was believed to have power to damn men at pleasure. For whoever died under his excommunication was looked upon, why? By deception. They were deceived. That's why with the Pope's excommunication, they looked at themselves as certainly damned because of false doctrine, especially of salvation, soteriology. If the Pope was pleased to put that state or kingdom under an interdict, which was a sentence pronounced by the Pope against that state or kingdom, whereby all sacred administrations could have no validity, and thus they looked at themselves in a miserable and damnable state till that interdict was taken off, and they dreaded it as they would a storm of fire and brimstone from heaven. Okay? If he placed that state under an interdict, the Pope and his clergy robbed the people of their ecclesiastical and civil liberties and privileges, and they also robbed them of their estates and drained all Christendom of their money. See how well this agrees with the prophecies. 2 Thessalonians 2, Daniel 7, Revelation 13, 1 through 10, Scarlet Harlot, Revelation 17. Okay? So, a beast is not just a single solitary civil ruler from Doug Wilson. And I say Doug Wilson should know better. He really should. But again, if people want to bring their preterism into this whole discussion, this is what it leads to. Scripture twisting, scripture abuse, ignorance. Okay? Just false.
The beast does. What does the Antichrist do? Well, in 1 John, the Antichrist denies that Jesus is God incarnate.
What? Nope. That's not what it says about the Antichrist. Nope. Those are antichrists that were around in John's day. Those were the pre-Gnostic Docetists. Stop tying in 1 John and 1 John 2 into the issue of the little horn of Daniel 7, the man of sin, son of perdition, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, the sea beast of Revelation 13, 1 through 10, and the scarlet harlot of Revelation 17. No, those all have to do with the Antichrist that shall come, not with the Antichrists that were back in that day. See, this is a preterist tactic. Gary DeMar does it. Now Doug Wilson is doing it. It's shameful. It's an abuse of God's prophetic word is what it is. So I would say, stop it, Doug Wilson. Stop it. Anyway, I think that's about all I had to go through today, or on this video, just because it's getting late. But yeah, no, a beast is an empire in Bible prophecy, not an individual civil persecuting person, okay, persecuting the church. Not at all. It's an empire that persecutes the church. Let me know what you think. Comments down below. Talk to you soon. Soli Deo Gloria.